Let's dive right into this explainer and unpack the absolute mystery of why building a backyard pool in Seattle in 2026 comes with such a jaw-dropping price tag. If you've been looking at upgrading your backyard oasis lately, you might have noticed that the numbers being thrown around are nothing short of astounding. We're going to dig into the exact data, the regional challenges, and the market forces at play to really demystify this pricey plunge.
Here's our roadmap for today. First, the Seattle sticker shock. Then, where the money actually goes, digging into the dirt, navigating the broader remodeling market, and finally, how to beat those budget busters. Let's get into it.
Section 1. The Seattle sticker shock. Expectation versus reality.
So a lot of folks expect a pool to just be your standard suburban upgrade, right? Like a simple hole filled with water. But here in the Pacific Northwest, it's effectively a major civil engineering project. We're talking $250,000 plus. That staggering number represents the top-end cost of a premium pool in Seattle right now. Even a mid-range project is going to land you squarely between $145,000 and $185,000. And hey, if you're seeing quotes below 90 grand, the data shows those are typically just for smaller plunge pools or maybe above-ground installations. Definitely not the full-size, in-ground experience most homeowners are picturing.
To put this into perspective, let's look at some actual 2026 case studies from the Renology Project of the Day network. You can clearly see how site conditions and materials wildly swing the final bill. Take Ballard, for example. A relatively flat lot allowed for a $135,000 fiberglass pool. Not too bad, right? But then look at West Seattle. A sloped yard bumped a similar-sized gunite pool up to $168,000. And over in Medina, premium finishes and an integrated spa pushed the budget to nearly $250,000. It's wild.
Section 2. Where the money goes. The anatomy of a pool bill.
If we look at a median $165,000 mid-range project, the breakdown might actually surprise you. The pool vessel itself, the interior finish and the equipment, is only a fraction of the expense. A massive 35% is dedicated entirely to excavation and structure, and another 25% goes to pure labor. So together, that's literally 60% of your budget gone before a single tile is even laid or a drop of water is added.
Beyond the pool shell itself, you have to budget for these unavoidable ancillary items mandated by safety codes and local terrain. And yet, these are tough to swallow. The city often requires geotechnical engineering reports that can run you up to $5,000 before work even starts. Then, you've got automatic safety covers running up to $22,000, mandatory fencing, and, especially given Seattle's hilly terrain, retaining walls that can easily slap another $40,000 or more onto your baseline.
Section 3. Digging into the dirt. The underground hurdles.
To really uncover why the Pacific Northwest is such a uniquely expensive environment to build in, we have to look underground. A huge chunk of the cost comes down to basic geology. Seattle is built on something called glacial till. Now, this is a dense, rocky soil that is just incredibly stubborn. Combine that with steep slopes and high water tables, and hitting bad soil during excavation can instantly add $15,000 to $30,000 in unforeseen costs for specialized equipment, dewatering systems, and hauling all that soil away. And then, of course, there are the people actually digging that dirt. According to the Washington State Department of Labor and Industries, strong regional demand and a notoriously high cost of living mean you are paying a massive 15 to 25% premium on specialized trade labor. Operating engineers, electricians, and cement masons in King County command significantly higher prevailing wages than the national median, which naturally pushes your labor budget right through the roof. Now, if you've ever hit a literal 403 request blocked error page while browsing the web, well, that is, ironically, the perfect metaphor for building a pool in Seattle. You are going to hit massive real-world roadblocks. We're talking about notoriously slow Seattle Department of Construction and Inspections permitting, incredibly strict homeowner association rules in neighborhoods like Magnolia and Laurelhurst, and really tricky staging constraints where narrow streets completely block heavy machinery. And as we all know, every roadblock equals more time, and time equals money.
Section 4. Navigating the remodeling market. The macro view.
To fully grasp the pricing here, we really have to zoom out and look at the broader macroeconomic factors, because it's not just about the pool itself, it's about the entire industry building it. The National Association of Home Builders tracks this through the Remodeling Market Index. By surveying current market conditions across large, medium, and small projects, tracking the rate of incoming leads, and measuring the current backlog of jobs, this index reveals one major truth. There is a massive, ongoing line of people waiting for large-scale remodeling projects nationwide. So the absolute crucial point here is that this high demand and significant project backlog mean pool contractors are stretched incredibly thin. When you have a massive line of homeowners waiting for a very limited number of specialized builders, it completely solidifies those premium labor prices we talked about earlier. You aren't just paying for the pool anymore. You're essentially paying for the privilege of just getting on a contractor schedule.
Section 5. Beating the budget busters. Protecting your wallet.
Okay, now that we know exactly why it's so expensive, let's arm you with the protective knowledge you need to actually survive your pool build. Cost overruns typically stem from 3 predictable areas: unforeseen site conditions, like hitting a high water table; scope creep, like deciding to upgrade to travertine decking mid-build; and slow permitting and inspection delays. Because of all this, while national averages suggest maybe a 10 to 15% contingency buffer, a 15 to 20% contingency budget is highly recommended to really protect yourself on any Seattle pool project. To prevent that dreaded scope creep, you have to ensure your contractor provides a comprehensive, ironclad quote that leaves absolutely zero room for ambiguity. It must detail everything. We're talking explicit excavation and soil removal plans, the rebar schedule, exact brand and model numbers for your pumps and heaters, and the assumed site conditions. Knowing exactly what happens if they say, hit a giant boulder underground, will save you an absolute fortune.
If there is one ultimate takeaway from this explainer, it is this: budget for the site first and the pool second. Let me say that again. Budget for the site first, the pool second. Underestimating the cost of the hole in the ground and the surrounding hardscape is the single most direct path to a major budget overrun. Remember, building a pool in the Pacific Northwest is a major landscaping and engineering endeavor first and a swimming pool second. So, after investigating the dense glacial till, the premium labor rates, the complex SDCI permitting, and the massive contractor backlogs, you really have to ask yourself one final question. Is the ultimate Pacific Northwest backyard oasis really worth navigating a $150,000 plus maze? Well, we'll leave that for you and your wallet to decide.